Welcome, my beautiful friends, to Rewilding Wellness Wednesdays. I am Dr. Christy Vanacore. Today, I will be talking with you about something that's become so misunderstood in the wellness world, and that is the concept of safety. So we hear it everywhere. Regulate your nervous system, find your calm, get grounded. But I've come to realize that most people don't actually know what safety feels like in their bodies. So many of us, especially those of us living in this fast, noisy, overstimulating modern world, which is everyone, safety isn't our baseline anymore. We've learned to survive in states of chronic activation. So we're braced, we're buzzing, we're functional, yes, but we are definitely not free. So thrilled to have you here today. This Rewilding Wellness Wednesdays podcast is a community, a gathering place, and a movement. We come together each week to remember what it really means to be well in body, mind, spirit, and soul. It's a place to listen and explore, ask questions, and find your own voice. It's a place where ancient wisdom and modern science meet, and where we stop trying to fix ourselves and instead begin remembering who we truly are. We gather here each week, not just for information, but for transformation, for connection, because rewilding wellness isn't something we can do alone. It's something we are doing together. And in doing so, we become part of something bigger than ourselves, a movement back to wholeness. I am Dr. Christy Vanacore, a medicine woman, author, lyricist, ceremonialist, and prominent trailblazer in the field of holistic psychology, offering a different but essential approach known as rewilding wellness for adults, children, teens, and families. I utilize ancient and enduring wisdom integrated with multidimensional and bioquantum practices for true holistic healing and thriving. After witnessing the staggering rates of chronic illness in adults and children, and the ineffective and disempowering practices of modern medical care, I recognized that my life's mission was to bring the health and wellness industries back to their roots, to reconnect people with their innate self-healing capacities. For well over 2 decades, my work has integrated mind, body, spirit, and honors the truth that we are foundationally vibrational beings, and that healing can only be birthed from the union of science and soul. We gather together to rediscover the brilliance of our bodies and its timeless wisdom so we can realign with the natural synergy of all of creation. I am here to light the way as you remember your roots, rekindle your instincts, and reclaim your sovereignty. So welcome, everybody. I'm thrilled to be here today to talk about this really important topic of safety. So before we dive in to talk about what this concept of safety means, I want to address this myth of calm. Okay, so we're always told to calm down, just relax, just calm down. But calm isn't the goal. You see, calm, when it's forced, can actually easily become yet another mask, another form of control, another way that we try to micromanage, AKA avoid and distract from our truth. So what we really need isn't to find calm, it's to find safety. You can't access calm without first feeling safe. It is actually physically and energetically impossible. Now, this idea of safety, it's not necessarily about silence or stillness. It's certainly not about numbing your emotions or pretending everything is fine. Safety is about your body knowing that it's not in danger anymore. It means that your breath can finally deepen, your shoulders can drop, your digestion can turn back on. You can feel without fearing what you'll find. That's what safety is all about. Now, let's talk for a couple moments about how we got here. How have we all collectively gotten to a place of living in functional fight and functional freeze incessantly? Well, for generations, we've been conditioned and domesticated to override our biology, to just keep pushing through, to just get over it, keep hustling. But the truth is, our nervous systems have never learned to power down. They stay activated. And our society has normalized living in survival mode. So we wake up in the morning already in fight, bracing ourselves for the adversity and the enemies of the day ahead. We stay in flight, running incessantly from one thing to the next. And eventually, we collapse in a state of functional freeze where we might still be going through the motions of our day, but we're doing so completely numb inside. And when that happens, our bodies can't tell the difference between a real threat and an emotional one. So it keeps us in this loop of hypervigilance. We're wired, tired, and disconnected from the very safety that we're seeking. What safety really is and what it isn't. So, safety is not a mindset. And it's very important that we understand this. I have clients, and this was me too, saying things like, well, I know that I'm not in danger. I know that it's just, a PTA meeting at school or, a meeting that I have to attend at work. I know it. So why is my system still braced for danger? Well, safety, unfortunately, is not a mindset. It is a physiological experience. So it's your heart rate slowing or quickening. It's your muscles clenching or unclenching, your breath, being in your throat or in your belly. These are physiological sensory experiences. So safety is when our quickening and rapid heart rate begins to slow down and restore and return to rhythm. It's when our muscles that have been in contraction for so long, causing us to experience back pain or jaw pain or migraines or stomach aches. It's when our muscles begin to unclench. Safety is when our breath returns to our belly and we can take those really beautiful, deep breaths from the belly, as opposed to the breath living in a very shallow place in our throat that usually happens when we're hyperventilating and we're running away from a predator. So it's a physiological experience, not a mindset. It's the moments when our system can say, you don't have to brace yourself anymore. And yet, this idea for so many of us feels foreign, even unsafe. This idea of safety can feel unsafe to someone who has never known what that feels like in their bodies. We've spent years, maybe even decades, equating chaos with aliveness and vitality. And in those cases, stillness can feel so threatening when the body has only ever known survival activation. So the work around that, again, we hear all this buzz, regulate your nervous system, just calm down, take some deep breaths, meditate. Well, we can't force peace. We can't force peace. And sometimes all of these hacks that are so readily available at our fingertips, become another way of micromanaging and forcing peace. And all the system does is interpret that as more danger. We have to repattern ourselves for safety. We have to teach our bodies over and over again, repeatedly, that it's safe to exhale, that it's safe to stay when all it's ever known how to do was keep running, that it's safe to rest and surrender when all it's ever known how to do is fight. That's the repatterning. Now, I want to talk here for a moment about how we mistaken distraction for rest. Because so many people say, well, yeah, I know that I've got to return and restore safety. I know that I've got to relax more. And in their effort to do that, the intention is there, but in an effort to do that, they don't quite get it right. And here's why. So laying on the couch and scrolling on your phone is not rest. It is not safety. Netflix is not a safety net. And believe me, I've used it that way myself for a while. There was a point in time that was my life preserver. Even something like yoga, which is, a beautiful practice that I practice, that I teach. But when yoga is approached like a performance, like a thing to do, it's not safe. It's not communicating that deep cellular sense of safety to the body. And so many of us are practicing functional rest, right? So, okay, we're going to yoga again, we're laying on the couch, but the body is still not resting and the nervous system is still activated and in overdrive. So the body might be still, we might be laying on the couch, but if we're thinking of all the things or looking at video games, the system is still in overdrive. So the real rest that is a foundation for establishing safety, it's all about tuning in. It's turning inward. It's turning our gaze inward, not outward. It's about coming back to the body, not escaping it. And again, this can be really terrifying, particularly for those of us who've experienced trauma in our physical bodies, meaning we've had body trauma, abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, So when the body was a source of danger, it's very difficult initially to return to the body because your protective mechanisms have programmed you to go away from it for survival. And that makes sense. And that was needed at the time. But those defense mechanisms only last so long. They only take us so far before the defense mechanisms themselves become dangerous. So we've got to turn inward. We've got to do this very slowly, intentionally, in a way that honors the state of our nervous system. This is what I help people to do. And this work doesn't have to be, and isn't escaping to a wellness retreat for 10 days or going to Bali or, running away to an ashram somewhere. No, it's not that at all. It's about the micro moments when you feel your feet on the floor, your hand on your heart, when you can sense your breathing moving through you, even amidst all the chaos, the dog barking in the background, the kids, the work, the job, the traffic, all of it. So that's what the real rest becomes as a foundation of establishing safety. Now, look, our ancestors, here's where I bridge in a little bit of the ancestral wisdom. Our ancestors knew this work instinctively. Okay, so rest was not laziness, it was reverence, it was of an honoring of the body, an honoring of the natural order of things. It was done in reverence, right? So kneading and baking bread slowly, right? Creating and blending tinctures and remedies for healing, moving in rhythm with the earth's seasons. These were not practices. This was not a wellness activity. These weren't chores. They were regulating and expanding their nervous system, but it was just their natural way of being. It was their natural ways of saying to the body, we are safe and we belong. But we've lost this connection in our modern times. We are so disconnected from the natural rhythm. But the good news is that we're able to remember it. That's why I'm here, to help you remember. We can restore these foundational connections that communicate safety through presence and ritual and ceremony and embodied care. So, what's the path forward? How do we do this? How do we repattern safety? What does this look like? Well, we've got to teach the body that it no longer needs to brace itself or perform so that it can finally begin to soften into belonging again. Because remember, safety is not something that we can think our way into. It's not. And that's why mindset work, mindset coaching, all the mindset hacks, they don't move the dial on this. Because we can't mind shift our way out of survival. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. We have to feel our way home, moment by moment, breath by breath, sensation by sensation. So I'm going to offer you a few gateways or doorways or portals to begin the journey back to safety. And some of these may sound very simplistic, and it's like that for a reason. The true medicine is simple. It's not anything we have to overthink. It's really coming back to the basics. So the first path that I offer you is pausing. Pausing. Because awareness is the first medicine. The reality is, awareness is who we are. We are pure awareness. So we can start by taking some moments throughout the day where we pause, take a step away from whatever it is that we're working on, and notice the condition of the body. Notice the status of our breath. Are we bracing ourselves? Are we clenching our jaw? Are we holding in our belly? Is our breathing shallow? Are our thoughts racing? You might notice it in the tone that you take when you speak to your children or your significant other. You might begin to notice the speed at which you move from task to task. That was one of the big ones for me, noticing how quickly I used to walk. And so many people would point it out to me, and I guess I hadn't been ready to see it until I couldn't unsee it. How fast I moved, how fast I spoke. That's all a system bracing itself. That's all a system in flight and fight. So when you pause and you notice, we're not doing this to judge ourselves. Not at all. We're doing this with love and kindness. And as we notice these patterns, we can whisper to ourselves, softly and gently. Ah, there it is. There's the part of me that's been trying to keep me safe. So, for instance, if you notice your jaw is clenched, ah, there's the part of me that's been trying to keep me safe. When your belly is sucked in and tight, there's the part of me that's been trying to keep me safe. When you've got a tension headache in your temples, there it is. That's the part of me that's been trying to keep me safe. So you bring awareness to the body's patterns, and that begins to interrupt the automatic loops of the body's defense and stress responses. Awareness alone really does wonders to begin the process of repatterning the nervous system. Second doorway, portal, if you will, micro moments of exhale, along with speaking safety into your system. So safety, as I said before, doesn't need to happen through grand gestures. And it certainly doesn't need to happen when you run off somewhere else. That's the opposite of what we're doing. So safety can be built through thousands of tiny little exhalations throughout your day. Every time you pause and you exhale and you let all of the breath out of you, that tells your vagus nerve, which if you listen to my show regularly, you know the vagus nerve is the longest cranial nerve in the body. It connects the mind with the body. It's our primary sort of danger response. It contracts when we're in danger and the system detects a threat. So every time we pause and empty the lungs and the breath moves out of us, our vagus nerve gets the message, we're not in danger anymore. We're not in danger anymore. You can try this simple practice. Place one hand on your chest. Place the other hand on your belly. Breathe in gently through your nose for a count of 4. And exhale through your mouth for a count of 6. And then whisper to yourself, I am safe now. I don't have to run. I can rest here. I am safe. And these micro moments of that communication will create macro shifts over time because you're literally teaching your body what peace feels like. Another pathway to security is to move slowly and repattern your rhythms. So again, our ancestors lived by rhythm with sunrise, with sunset, planting and harvesting, rest and work. But the modern nervous system, well, it has no idea how to move in rhythm. It only knows speed. So repatterning safety means slowing down the tempo of your life, not necessarily stopping. There are times we have to stop. We can keep moving though, but we've got to do it differently. We've got to soften the pace. We've got to soften the way our feet touch the earth. We can soften our voices. We can slow down the pace, right? Eating slower, speaking slower, walking slower. And then notice how it feels to let your body guide you rather than the clock or a calendar. Let your body take the lead. The body does remember that the pace of things is safety. And every time we slow down our pace, the body gets the message, I am not being chased anymore. Another pathway is to reclaim rest. So I shared a few minutes ago this idea of rest. Rest is not the absence of doing things. It's not laziness. It's not zoning out. In fact, it's the opposite. It's really tuning in. It's the presence of being. So something as simple as lighting a candle before bed and stirring your tea with intention and placing a hand on your heart and simply listening. I think about how my ancestors did this instinctively, right? We've got to come back to those rituals. We've got to integrate those intentional movements into our lives so we can still get things done, but we've got to do it differently. So ask yourself, what are some small rituals that you can bring back into your daily life that will remind your system that it's safe to rest? Another path is to practice containment. And here we mean giving the energy in your system a place to land. So when we've lived in survival mode for so long, our energy has nowhere to go. It's sort of like ricocheting inside the body, and then it gets stuck and it hardens and it stays imprinted. So when we talk about containment, we don't want to shove it down more. No, we want to give that energy a safe channel in which it can move and complete the cycle, complete the fight or flight response. So the energy discharges. Right? That's what this containment is about. They tell the body, I can hold myself. I am the container of my own safety. So even something as simple as crossing your arms and kind of giving yourself a bear hug, wrapping a blanket kind of tightly around your shoulders while you breathe. This communicates safety to the body. Another path we can take is to repattern through connection. So I talk so much about co-regulation, right? As humans, we are built to heal in relationship. Co-regulation is the biological blueprint for safety. We're never meant to self-regulate alone in isolation. So here, this is all about finding safe people in your life who you can make eye contact with, who you could share, who you could cry with. Spend time with those people whose nervous systems whisper calm rather than chaos. That will allow our nervous systems to come down. And if you don't have those people yet, begin with the natural living world. Lean against a tree. Let the rhythm of ocean waves or the humming of the wind, the pulse of the earth, let those be your first co-regulators. Mother Earth's nervous system is the original healer. So some other ways we can use sound and let sound lead the way. So sometimes words can feel like too much, and sometimes we can't even find our words in times of great stress and overwhelm. And this is where sound comes in. Sound is medicine. Humming, chanting, drumming, or simply sighing aloud stimulates the vagus nerve and releases stored and stuck tension. My medicine dance ceremonial offering was born from this knowing that movement and sound are actually the ancient languages of safety. When the body moves, the story moves. And when the story moves, the energy releases. Right? So let your body sway and shake and sigh and hum. Let sound carry you. Another pathway is to return to the senses. This is how we anchor ourselves into the present moment. So again, safety doesn't live in the mind, it lives in the body. It lives in sensation. And the more you return to your senses, the more anchored you become in the here and now. So something as simple as noticing warmth of the sunlight on your skin, noticing the scent of coffee brewing in your house, noticing the texture of your clothing. These are sensory anchors that remind the body that it's here and it's safe. This is the antidote to things like depersonalization and derealization and dissociation, all of those ways that we essentially separate from ourselves, that we feel numbed out. Use these sensory anchors in order to bring you back to your body. So at some point, we do have to stop pretending to be okay. There's so many of us running around. I'm fine, everything's okay. And we also have to stop performing wellness trends. And instead, we need to begin to feel our way back home to what safety really means. Repatterning safety, not about reaching perfection. It's about practice, patience. It's a slow unlearning. This is the rewilding, right? It's a slow unlearning of the parts of you that forgot how to rest. Each pause, each breath, each moment of awareness is actually a rebellious act in this culture that glorifies overstimulation. This is how we reclaim our natural rhythm. This is how we reclaim our sacred right to safety and our body's innate intelligence. This is where healing truly begins. And it's only then, only when we can be truly present with our children, our partners, our communities, for ourselves. And the danger dissolves and the defenses drop. That truth and beauty and love and joy can be accessed. Those are the unguarded, untamed, wild pulse of life that is our vitality, that restores us from a state of dis-ease to one of ease and flow. It's one that was never lost and has only been waiting for us to return. That's how we restore safety. So before we wrap up for this time, I'd like to guide us through the practice. A 2-minute kind of homecoming, I call it, coming home to yourself. So whatever it is that you're doing, I invite you to pause. Let go of whatever you might be holding in your hand. And just take a breath right here, right now. Inhale through your nose and exhale out of your mouth. No need to change your breathing. We don't need to practice any fancy breath work here. That's another way that we force safety. No fancy breath work, no deep inhales and deep exhales. No, just breathe naturally. And notice that you're breathing. Allow your shoulders to drop a little. See if you can invite them to head down the body towards the earth. Allow your jaw to unclench. Feel the back of your body supported by either the chair or floor or the earth itself. Now, bring one hand to your heart and the other hand to your belly. And see if as you breathe, you can watch your breath kind of traveling between the palms of your hands. So it moves from underneath your hand by your heart to underneath your other hand in your belly. So the breath moves. It's traveling up and down, side to side like waves. And then you whisper quietly to yourself, I am safe in this moment. My body belongs here. It's okay to rest. And as you say these things to yourself or quietly aloud, feel the vibration of your own voice. That's your nervous system listening. That's your cells remembering. Now, when you do this, if the mind wanders, that's okay. Just come back to your breath. Come back to the sensation of the warmth between your hands and your body. Back to the rhythm that's always been yours. Now, sense the ground underneath your feet. Solid, steady, and ancient. This same earth that held your ancestors holds you now. Let your breath fall out in a sigh, a release, an exhale that says the danger has passed. And in this exhale, notice what's left. Notice if there's spaciousness and softness and safety. That is what home feels like. And you can return to it anytime. All it takes is intention. All it takes is your breath. All it can take is a hand on your heart. And the remembering that you were never truly unsafe. You were just disconnected from your own rhythm of peace. And now you can reclaim it. So let's take one final deep inhale through your nose. Hold it at the top for a moment, and then we take together a long, slow exhale. Emptying all of the air from your chest and your belly. This is how we reclaim safety. This is how we rewild wellness. I hope you'll reach out with questions, comments. If you would like support to guide you on this journey of restoring safety, that is the first step. You could drink the green juices, you could go to the yoga classes, you can study the breath work, you could take all the supplements, but without a foundational sense of safety in the body-mind, none of that, nothing can work. This is the foundation. I am here to help you restore it. Until next time, have a beautiful day.